You're dismissed. Nathan's voice reverberated through the glass-walled conference room, stark and impersonal. He sat at the head of the long, polished oak table, one I picked out when we first moved into this office 6 years ago. Dressed sharply in the charcoal gray suit I'd gifted him for his last promotion, his expression was a mix of arrogance and satisfaction. "Excuse me?" I said, keeping my tone level despite the knot tightening in my chest. "What did you just say?" "You heard me, Cassandra. Your role as COO has been dissolved," he replied, drawing out the words with relish. "This company needs fresh ideas, a new direction. And frankly, having my ex-wife in a leadership role isn't ideal for our culture. My name is Cassandra Holt, and at 45, I was being ousted from the company I'd nurtured from a scribbled dream to a multi-million-dollar enterprise. A business that had taken root in our tiny apartment's spare room over a decade ago, back when Nathan and I were still happily married, or so I thought." "Your ex-wife," I repeated, trying to keep my composure. "You mean the one who spent countless nights building our client base while you played CEO and flirted your way through our staff meetings?" His smirk faltered, but only briefly. "Let's not dredge up the past, Cass. What matters is the future. I've got a board to please, and they've unanimously agreed it's time for a change." The bitterness bubbled under the surface, but I refused to let him see it. The board, stacked with Nathan's college buddies and golf partners, had clearly been waiting for this moment. "And they're just fine with this?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. "Absolutely." He slid a folder across the table with calculated ease. "The severance package is generous. A year's salary, extended benefits. It's more than fair." I stared at the folder but didn't touch it. "And if I don't accept it?" His eyes gleamed, and I knew he'd been waiting for me to ask. "Then we can revisit some of the financial decisions from last quarter. The ones you pushed through without proper approval. I'm sure the auditors would find them very interesting." My stomach dropped. The financial decisions he referred to were his idea, schemes to impress investors with inflated projections. I protested at the time, but he'd insisted. And now he was twisting it into a weapon. "You wouldn't dare," I said quietly. He leaned back, shrugging. "Try me." The room seemed to close in around me, the air heavy with betrayal. I could see it now, the chess game Nathan had been playing for the last year, positioning himself to take full control while I dealt with the fallout of our divorce. The smugness in his voice was unbearable. "Fine," I said at last, standing and gathering my belongings. "I'll take the package." Nathan's smug expression widened into a grin, clearly pleased with my compliance. "Good. I'll have security escort you to clear out your desk." As though I were a criminal, as though I hadn't poured my heart and soul into this company while he smoothed and schemed. The walk back to my office felt like a parade of humiliation. Employees, people I'd hired, trained, and mentored, stared as I passed, some too uncomfortable to meet my eyes. 2 security guards followed me, their presence a stark reminder of how disposable I'd become. My phone buzzed. A message from Elena, my best friend and head of legal. "Just heard. He's a bastard. Come over tonight. Bring whiskey." I managed a small smile. Elena had been my rock during the divorce, and her advice had been invaluable, especially her insistence that I refuse to sign a non-compete clause. "You'll thank me later," she'd said. She wasn't wrong. As I walked out of the building for the last time, clutching a single box of personal items, I caught sight of Leah, the new Mrs. Holt, standing by the receptionist's desk, her hand resting on her rounded belly. I felt a pang of pity for her. History had a way of repeating itself. That evening, as I sat on Elena's couch nursing a glass of whiskey, I finally opened the severance package. It was as Nathan had promised. Generous on paper, insulting in reality. "He actually thinks this will make you go quietly?" Elena asked, incredulous. I took a long sip, feeling calmer with every passing second. "He thinks I don't have a choice." "And do you?" I set my glass down and opened my laptop. "He forgot one thing." Pulling up a file, I handed her the computer. "Remember those clients who kept asking us to expand into renewable energy solutions? The ones Nathan ignored." Elena's eyes lit up as she read through the document. "You've been planning this." "For months," I said. "I've been meeting with them privately, building a strategy. It's something Nathan's company can't deliver, and since I never signed that non-compete." "He can't stop you." Elena finished, her grin spreading. You genius. Want to be my legal counsel again? I asked, raising an eyebrow. Try and stop me. 2 months later, my new company, Lumina Energy Solutions, was up and running. My first hire was Zach Torres, our former head of R&D who had quit out of frustration with Nathan's short-sightedness. Soon, I'd recruited a team of 15, all top talent Nathan had overlooked or alienated. Within weeks, we'd secured a contract with Everbright Corp, one of our previous company's biggest clients. Nathan had taken them for granted, but I understood their needs, and more importantly, I had the solutions they'd been begging for. The email from Nathan arrived late one night, predictably angry. What are you doing? Everbright just pulled their contract. If you're behind this, we need to talk. I didn't reply. By the time the dust settled, Nathan's company had lost 4 of its largest accounts. Meanwhile, Lumina was thriving. Every day, I felt stronger, more capable, and more determined than ever. As I sat in my new office, smaller but filled with energy and potential, I smiled to myself. Nathan had underestimated me at every turn. But this time, I wasn't just surviving, I was winning. He's trying to file an injunction, Monica said, skipping any pleasantries as her voice crackled over the line. Claims you stole proprietary information. I laughed, the sound bouncing off the walls of my modest new office. Let him try. Every single line of code in our platform is original. Tom made sure of that, down to the last semicolon. Monica snorted. I know, but David's not thinking rationally, he's panicking. And you know how he gets when he's desperate. I knew all too well. During our divorce, he'd attempted to stash assets in dummy accounts, convinced I wouldn't notice. Of course, our forensic accountant had uncovered everything. David's pattern was predictable. Underestimate his opponent, lash out recklessly when threatened, and then collapse when the fallout hit. The next morning, I was greeted with an unwelcome surprise in the office lobby. Sarah was waiting for me, fidgeting nervously. Her designer dress, tailored to perfection, strained slightly over her growing belly. Jennifer, she said, her tone hesitant. Can we talk? I hesitated but ultimately waved her into my office. 5 minutes, I said, gesturing toward a chair. She perched awkwardly on the edge, twisting the ring on her finger. My old wedding ring, I realized with a faint smirk. David's struggling, she began, her voice barely above a whisper. The company's losing clients, the board is pressuring him, and he's not handling it well. Sounds like a tough break, I said evenly, folding my arms. Maybe he should try mindfulness meditation or yoga. She flushed, clearly frustrated. This isn't a joke. He wants to make a deal. If you stop taking clients. Stop taking clients? I interrupted, my voice sharp. I haven't taken anyone. Clients are leaving because your husband is selling them the same outdated systems he was pushing 5 years ago. I'm offering them real solutions and they're choosing me. That's called competition, Sarah. But they're only choosing you because of your history with them, she snapped, her composure cracking. No, they're choosing me because I listened to their concerns while David ignored them. I spent years understanding what they needed while he focused on golf outings and extracurricular activities. I leaned forward, pinning her with a direct stare. Tell me, Sarah, what exactly is your role at the company these days? She blinked, caught off guard. I'm the Director of Client Relations. Impressive title. Can you explain how an encrypted blockchain network integrates with client infrastructure? Or how penetration testing protocols are designed to identify vulnerabilities? Or do you just smile and forward emails to the tech team? Her silence was answer enough. I stood signaling that her time was up. Good luck, Sarah. And while you're here, maybe double-check those expense reports. David's not nearly as clever at hiding things as he likes to think. After she left, I gathered my team in the conference room. Phoenix Digital had grown to 40 people, all of them driven, talented, and loyal. David's desperate, I told him bluntly. Expect him to throw everything at us. Legal threats, poaching attempts, whatever he can think of. If anyone feels uncomfortable or wants to step away, now's the time. Tom leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. Step away. Are you kidding? This is just starting to get fun. Laughter rippled through the room. These were people who believed in what we were building, who shared my vision. Unlike David's hand-picked boardroom crummies, they were here because they wanted to be. 2 weeks later, the Wall Street Journal ran a feature. Phoenix Digital disrupts cybersecurity market. Wash Technology struggles to keep up. The article detailed our meteoric rise, our innovative solutions, and our growing list of high-profile clients. It also highlighted Wash Technology's plummeting stock price and whispers of internal unrest. David's reaction was predictable. He sent a flurry of texts, then showed up at my apartment late one night, reeking of whiskey. "You've made your point," he slurred through the intercom. "Come back. We can fix this. The company needs you." I watched him on the security camera, disheveled and desperate. "No, David. The company needed me a year ago, when I warned you about its vulnerabilities. It needed me 5 years ago when I proposed the innovations you dismissed. Now, it's too late?" He pounded on the door. "You're ruining everything I built." "Everything we built," I corrected. "And no, I'm not ruining anything. I'm building something better. Go home to your wife, David. She's the one you chose." The next month, Phoenix Digital hit a valuation of $100 million. We had offices in 3 cities, a growing team, and a reputation as industry leaders. Everything David had dismissed as unnecessary or impractical was now the foundation of our success. The final showdown came at the annual Tech Security Conference. Both companies were presenting new products. David went first, unveiling Wash Technology's revolutionary security protocol, a thinly disguised rehash of last year's system. Then it was my turn. "Cybersecurity isn't about recycling old ideas," I told the packed auditorium. "It's about anticipating threats that evolve daily and staying ahead of them." I demonstrated our AI-driven threat detection platform, designed to adapt in real time. The audience leaned forward, hanging on every word. Afterward, as I fielded questions from enthusiastic potential clients, I caught sight of David at the back of the room. He looked smaller, somehow deflated. Sarah wasn't with him. Rumors of trouble in their marriage had started circulating weeks ago. Later that evening, at our team celebration, Monica raised her glass. "To the Phoenix who rose from the ashes." I looked around the table at my team, my true family, and smiled. "To all of us. And to the lessons learned when people underestimate what we can achieve together." 3 days later, Wash Technology's board ousted David as CEO. The company was hemorrhaging money, and acquisition talks had already begun. When the news broke, I received one final email from David. "You won. I'm sorry." I didn't reply. His words meant nothing now. The true victory wasn't about watching his company fail. It was about proving that success comes from innovation, resilience, and staying true to your vision. A year later, as I accepted the Innovation in Technology Award, I thought back to the day David fired me. He believed he was ending my career. Instead, he'd given me the freedom to soar. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about building something so extraordinary that those who doubted you can only watch in awe as you rise far above them.